Hialeah's former top cop is finding himself on the other side of the law, arrested and accused of stealing from his own department. Sergio Velasquez was Hialeah's top cop for nearly 10 years.
And during that time, prosecutors say he illegally pocketed hundreds of thousands of dollars. Local 10's Glenna Milberg is live. What she's learned, Glenna.
Louis, Nicole, it looks like petty cash was the former police chief's downfall. Money laundering, fraud, grand theft. Sergio Velasquez was actually taken out of office 4 years ago, and that's when the investigation started that ended in his arrest this morning. The ex-chief did not even look up for his mugshot. Arrested Monday morning by state investigators who tracked money they say he tried so hard to hide.
A lot of anomalies, a lot of irregularities, and a lot of poor record keeping that may have been done so to disrupt us or discourage us from finding the true thing. Hialeah's former police chief Sergio Velasquez had more than his share of controversies during his decade. Now, this arrest narrative unspools a scheme involving the cash Hialeah's narcotics detective used as props for their undercover work, and also money the city received in drug forfeitures. When it came back, it ended up in the chief's office safe, and then, they allege, in his bank accounts.
The monies always came up missing, no matter who came and went. As a sergeant or a major, the chief was there.
They graph the timeline. The yellow line you see, money coming into the department, and the green line, what Velasquez was depositing into his personal accounts, a mirror image. And the timeline ends at the end of 2021 when a new city mayor suspended Velasquez from office, then giving no reason why.
Organized fraud, a first-degree felony, and grand theft, a first-degree felony.
He stood silent. His lawyer did the talking. Sergio Velasquez, now criminal defendant, accused of systematically stealing from the department and people he led.
You have a good lawyer, listen to what he tells you.
An audit trying to account for disappearing petty cash found gaping holes of accountability. Meanwhile, the chief was making dozens of personal deposits, bought Rolex and Cartier and Louis Vuitton. Velasquez had more than his share of controversies during his decade, like embarrassing a sergeant by stripping him of his uniform in public. Now, this arrest narrative unspools a scheme involving the cash Hialeah's narcotics detective used as props for their undercover work, and also money the city received in drug forfeitures.
Good morning, and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m., bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We're going to start it out back down in Miami looking at this goofball. Check him out. So funny. Turns out there's going to be no charges filed against this MDSO deputy who's been accused of assaulting a transgender woman. The internal investigation is ongoing. So why are we even reading this? Oh, we're just having a good time. Miami. All charges were dropped in the case of Miami-Dade Sheriff's deputy accused of assaulting a transgender woman inside an apartment downtown Miami. Woo! 54-year-old Daniel Challa, a 30-year veteran of the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, was taken into custody in April after he allegedly attacked a woman he met at the 1111 Miami nightclub. Whoa. All right. Upon his release, Challa denied all allegations. Oh, really? Body camera video showed the officers questioning Challa as they took him into custody in April. It says, quote, "We're conducting an investigation," unquote. An officer could be overheard telling Challa, quote, "Place your hands behind your back." Okay, that's why he looks so surprised. All right. According to the arrest report, Challa met the woman at 1111 nightclub and brought her to his apartment on the 26th floor later that night. Ooh, swanky. Ugh. After kissing her, he was accused of wrapping his arm tightly around her neck for 3 minutes, choking her and putting red marks on the right side of her neck and chin until she managed to escape. Okay. Challa told the arresting officers he never assaulted her. Quote, "You guys met at a club, correct?" asked an officer. Quote, "Yes," responded Challa. "Walk me through what happened," the officer told Challa. "Nothing," said Challa. "So you guys didn't argue?" the officer asked. "We argued, but no, we didn't argue. I just kicked her out," said Challa. "No violence whatsoever." Okay. Officers asked Challa why he kicked the woman out of his apartment. "Because I didn't care for her, because I didn't like her," said Challa. I'm not going to say it. You guys are thinking what I'm thinking, aren't you? Okay. Because I didn't, after posting bond in April, Chawla insisted he never hurt the woman. I did not squeeze that woman's neck, he said. Prosecutors at the time told the judge the opposite. Ooh, okay, prosecutors. I wonder what they said. Here it says, quote, Judge, he was choking her and refusing to let go, the prosecutor said. He was initially charged with false imprisonment and battery. State's Attorney's Office has dropped all charges following the investigation. Okay, prosecutors say they're no longer pursuing any legal actions against Chawla. The state is taking no further action, the prosecutor said in court, and the state's attorney, that's it. That's basically it for Chawla. Chawla remains relieved of duty pending an internal affairs investigation by the department, though. Okay, Chawla, maybe just a little humiliation will do the trick. But you're still a bad apple in our book. All right, let's move on with the show.
In 30 years in law enforcement, many of them at Metro, two incidents that really stand out. One in 2004, where a man died, and another, 10 years later, where a man sued Rader and another officer for choking him.
Thank you for being here on this very significant day of my law enforcement career.
Reggie Rader.
To our new police chief, Reggie Rader.
Accepting the top job at Henderson's police department just a couple months after the city fired his predecessor, Holly Chadwick, joining a carousel that makes Rader the 5th Henderson police chief in the last 13 years.
I would not be taking this job if I thought it was just going to be a quick revolving door. When he calls for code red, that's a real code red.
That's Rader some 6 years back in a Metro YouTube video about a hostage gunfight, a domestic violence incident in 2016 for which Rader and others received the department's Medal of Valor.
The amount of gunfire at that time in my career was something that I had never heard before.
The Medal of Valor, the highest law enforcement honor, a major accomplishment in a career that resulted in Rader becoming one of Clark County Sheriff Kevin McMahill's deputy chiefs, after being a detective, sergeant, and lieutenant in the gang task force, and among other things, captain of the Southeast Area Command.
And the firearm discharged, injuring our toddler.
Metro would occasionally trot Rader out for press conferences, like this one I attended 2 years ago when a little girl at a daycare picked up a loaded gun and shot herself.
I know that you probably didn't even know that you're being super brave.
And Rader, on behalf of Metro, handed the 2-year-old who miraculously survived a bravery award.
Right now, I got your battery going to violence. Okay.
That's Rader and another officer in 2015 telling a man to calm down and then taking him down. Onto the ground, where the victim, Jimmy Kiesling, insisted the officers, including Rader, all but choked him out.
There was nothing really restricting me here. It was all in the front with the crease and then him bending back to gain more leverage.
But police used a lot of leverage, ultimately getting Kiesling into submission. He was not arrested for the crime police came to investigate, Metro saying it wasn't a chokehold, it was what they call a lateral vascular neck restraint, which can render a subject unconscious by compressing blood vessels in the neck to restrict blood flow to the brain, a move their captain at the time approved.
I tell you to stop. Stop, right?
And next thing I know, that I'm tapping out. I remember tapping out, saying that I almost passed out. Little to my knowledge, I had already passed out, and I was coming to.
Kiesling sued in federal court and won. Metro and Rader appealed. Everyone involved agreed to dismiss the appeal. Usually that means a settlement.
My child. They wouldn't do my child like that.
Joyce Charleston in 2004, the mother of another person who Rader encountered during his time at Metro. She was grieving the death of her son, William Lomax, who police say was high on PCP when he scuffled with security guards at his apartment building. That's when Rader used his taser 8 times on Lomax, who ultimately died.
During your training, did your trainer with the Metropolitan Police Department give any set number that you're not to go beyond in tasing an individual to gain compliance?
No, they said use it as many times as you need to until you get the subject in custody.
Rader got Lomax in custody and tased his neck until he wasn't breathing. At this coroner's inquest, a jury ultimately found the use of force was okay. The coroner ruling the death was from cardiac arrest during restraining procedures. And even though the family sued Rader and Metro, the suit went nowhere.
It's unacceptable behavior to do a human being like that. I don't care what they did. I don't care what anybody did. The whole family is upset about it, and it's unacceptable. And I don't want it to happen to anybody else.
Henderson City Council does not need to approve Rader as a selection for chief, but Rader's first day is scheduled for July 7th. The city plans an oath of office ceremony at a special council meeting a week after that.
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's what I think of when I read about dirty bad apples like this guy, this Cullen police officer. He was arrested for reportedly shooting a dog and pointing a gun at a woman. So in my mind, I can just reverse engineer what that looks like. With an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Webster Parish, Louisiana, an officer with the Cullen Police Department has been arrested for reportedly shooting a dog and pointing a gun at a woman. Webster Parish Sheriff Jason Parker says the incident happened on Sunday, June 1st. Officer Reginald Ferguson, that's his name, Fergie, went to the home in question for an unknown reason and reportedly discharged his gun twice. Sheriff says it does not appear the officer was dispatched out to the home. Oh, he's just a proactive dirtball. The sheriff says Ferguson shot twice at the dog while the woman was standing very close by, putting her in danger. Then the sheriff says Ferguson pointed the gun directly at the woman. Sheriff's office discussed the case with the DA's office, and an arrest warrant for Ferguson was issued for illegal use of a weapon. Ferguson has been arrested and booked in the Bayou Dorcheat Correction Center. His bond is set at $25,000. The sheriff says Ferguson has been an officer with the Cullen Police Department since January. Previously, he worked with the Cotton Valley Police Department. During his time there, the sheriff says he was arrested for several counts of aggravated animal cruelty. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth for that cop.
The Monroe County Sheriff's Office told us it had no idea of the Fed's allegations.
Until NBC6 investigates, Tony Pipitone contacted them
and provided them this court filing, one the U.S. Attorney's Office repeatedly sought to have sealed from public view to protect ongoing investigations. But a judge denied that request to seal. We got the filing, and tonight we can report the Fed suspected at least one person with the Monroe Sheriff's Office could not be trusted. Captain Scott Fisher of the Conch Republic Marine Army knows well the waters around Marathon.
Everything gets caught on boot key.
Like what?
50,000 pounds of marine debris in the last year we pulled off. Everything.
But on occasion, their volunteers find something more valuable, a kilo of.
They wash up down here all the time. We found a couple of them over the years.
Like this brick the Marine Army covered in the Lower Keys weeks ago and entrusted to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Not so trusting of everyone in the Sheriff's Office when it comes to investigating a recent distribution case, the FBI and federal prosecutors. In this memorandum, they reveal they intentionally and systematically excluded the Sheriff's Office from a 3-year probe that led to the indictment of 27 people last September. They're concerned, the memo states, they believed at least one sheriff's official was tipping off the man they allege headed the conspiracy.
Good afternoon, guys. My name's John Strama.
John Strama Jr., a.k.a. Johnny Goldchains, for obvious reasons. Speedboat racer, boat mechanic, and the FBI and prosecutors allege a man who took his 3-year-old daughter on a jet ski into the mangroves in search of what the girl is heard on video calling square grouper. Kilos of like these, among hundreds tossed or lost by smugglers and pulled from these waters each year. And last August, just weeks before the indictments, a charter fisherman out here off Sombrero Beach found 30 kilos of the FBI says, and knew exactly who to turn it over to, John Strama. The man who the feds claim in the recent filing was tipped off in advance about a prior search warrant for his home. This, his $2 million waterfront home, was raided by the feds in December 2023. And they claim it would not be the last time he was tipped off. In April, as the lead FBI agent was driving toward Marathon, he testified he told a Monroe sheriff's official he was going to a cell phone store to investigate Strama for possibly violating terms of his release on bond. 30 minutes after they ended their call, the agent testified he saw Strama outside. Tipped off, the feds wrote they suspected, but in a statement, the sheriff called them unsubstantiated suspicions, noting the agent testified he had no evidence the deputy communicated with Strama that afternoon. The government sought to revoke Strama's bond, claiming he tampered with a cooperating witness he spoke to outside the cell phone store. And a federal judge did find the contact violated his bond, but ruled there was insufficient evidence of witness tampering or obstruction, and she allowed Strama to remain free on home confinement without internet. And remember those 30 kilos the FBI was told Strama was handling for the charter fisherman who found it off Sombrero Beach?
In court papers, the FBI says they did not learn about that shipment until after they had arrested Strama and his co-defendants, and that's when they were told that that 30 kilos or so was being kept at a marina right across the canal from their task force headquarters. And they say they believe Strama continued to sell it after his arrest.
But the judge rejected that allegation as unreliable, unsubstantiated hearsay and noted the feds never got a warrant to search that marina, a sign, she said, of how weak the allegations were. As for Strama...
Mr. Strama, can you tell me if anyone at the sheriff's office tipped you off either to the warrant, the search warrant, or to go to the Metro PCS store?
He did not answer our questions and has pled not guilty to the charges.
Now, Strama's attorney told the prosecutor after the fact that he had sent Strama into the store looking into surveillance video, a claim the prosecutor told the judge he didn't buy. Sheriff Rick Ramsey said the FBI told him it had no issues with his department, and without the name of an employee they suspected, his agency will not be investigating. And the FBI and the U.S. attorney, well, they declined to comment to us about why they kept the sheriff in the dark about all of this.
Folks, we have a Texarkana police officer who looks straight out of casting from Deliverance. He's been arrested for alleged sexual assault of a child. Look at this guy. Who would have thunk it? Basically, everybody that laid eyes on him. Texarkana, Texas. The Texarkana, Texas Police Department has arrested one of its own officers for alleged sexual assault of a child. Zachary Gilley, age 32, the cop, has been a police officer with the department since 2018, officials said. Wow, that's a long run there. 7 years of being a dirty bad apple. He was put on administrative leave just before his arrest Monday night, June 2nd. The department says it immediately started an internal investigation after the allegations involving a 15-year-old girl surfaced. After investigating and gathering evidence, the police department consulted with the Bowie County District Attorney's Office, and the arrest warrant was issued. That's it for you, buddy. Gilley was called to the police department Monday night and arrested on 2 counts of sexual assault of a child, 1 count of each of indecency with a child and indecency with a child by exposure. Gilley was booked into the Bi-State jail. His bond was set Tuesday morning at $600,000. Whoa! And then there's that boilerplate, the men and women of the Texas, blah, 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 blah. Okay? That anybody that looks like that, keep an eye on them. I know that's kind of mean, but hey, let's move on.
A county judge accused of mishandling county funds for personal use will head to trial. Today, Gil Self appeared in court to try to resolve the case, but that did not happen. Self is charged with using his office for personal gain. An audit revealed Self spent more than $146,000 in county money on personal travel, a sofa, and even alcohol. He has since repaid that money. The trial, though, still begins October 20th.
Former mayor of Fenton, Eddie Alfred Jr., is now charged with malfeasance in office and injuring public records. He was part of a Lee Zurich Fox 8 investigation into the community's mayor's court, which brought in more than $1 million a year through traffic fines. It's unclear if his arrest is related to Alfred's time in office. He served from 2009 until 2024.
Tonight, 6 people are now charged with a huge fraud and bribery scam targeting food stamps. Listen to this. One of the arrested people in this, a USA employee, that's the government agency that oversees food stamp benefits. According to the Justice Department, the group set up a network that supplied approximately 160 unauthorized EBT terminals to stores across the New York area. Those terminals then illegally processed more than $30 million in EBT transactions. And the USDA employee who's charged actually worked in the division responsible for identifying food stamp fraud. Earlier this month, we highlighted a national scam in our special report, Faces of the Forgotten. Thousands of people in Alabama have had millions of dollars stolen from their EBT accounts. And for the last 5 months, they say they have not been reimbursed.
You know, you guys make my day. I wouldn't be able to do the Bad Apple Report without you. Thank you so much for being here to watch the Bad Apple Report with me every morning, right here at home on the range. You know me, I'm going to whip up another batch of bad apples just for you, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Thanks again.